Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Encouragement Today. My name is Vinny and I am here with my wife, Krystal.
Welcome everyone. We're so glad that you joined us today for this episode.
Today's episode is another episode from National Adoption Awareness Month, and we've been celebrating this month with sharing our journey of adoption, and you want to put your disclaimer on it right away. Go.
Yeah, we adopted 10 years ago, and this is just our story of what it looked like to host and do an international adoption to the country of Ukraine.
So, that being said, make sure you like, share, subscribe, do all of those things to make sure that more people can get encouraged, because these episodes are for you as we celebrate adoption and all of that. And this story is going to be I don't know the word to use today. The word would be crazy.
Crazy. I thought you were going towards like bittersweet.
Right.
Like there was some heartbreak, but it was just part of the story. And obviously we're celebrating 10 years of adoption. So God was in it, and there was an amazing end to the story, but it wasn't easy.
Right. And so let's get into this episode right away and talk about, last episode, if you haven't seen any of these episodes, make sure you go back and watch from the beginning, because they are really good, and they kind of share our story of the whole process to get to this point where we're going to Ukraine to adopt our boys.
Yes. So 1 second recap. We hosted 2 boys. We decided to adopt them. They were from Ukraine. We submitted our dossier. And so once that was done, we had to wait for an appointment. So we needed an appointment with basically the children's ministry, children's department there in Ukraine,
right,
to have an appointment with them. So once we got the letter saying that our whole application, our dossier was accepted, they give you a date. And so it was 3 weeks. So it was basically on Tuesday.
You have no time.
Tuesday morning at 9 a.m. You need to be in this office for your appointment. And so everything in life like paused because we had to book flights and get ourselves to Ukraine. And thankfully, my parents lived with us, and then your mother came down to Florida to be with our kids, because we had 3 kids at the time, and we thought we would be in Ukraine for 6 weeks.
Right. It could have been as little as 3.
It could have been
as 6. Yep.
And some people would break up the trip. They would go for just a week, fly home, and then go back again when they had their court date.
Right.
That wasn't an option for us at the time, because that involves money.
And we were being very frugal.
Yes. So it was easier for us to plan to be there for 6 weeks. So we had our appointment, and in our paperwork, we had put that we were going to adopt what they say known children. So we had the boys' names on there, that we knew who we were coming to the country for, and that we were looking to pursue adoption with them. So then we had our appointment with the Ministry of Children. So we flew to Ukraine, which was international flights, and getting there. Huge culture. It's a European city, but it's still in Eastern Europe and a whole lot different.
Right. So we flew in a few days before the appointment.
I think just the day before.
No, we had a few days, because I remember going.
Maybe we did, because we did go to church. We went to Hillsong's Kiev, which is really cool.
Yep, it was cool.
Yep.
And we went to, there was different landmarks that we hit.
Yes, you're right. So yeah, we did, probably because of jet lag. You're right. We probably flew in a couple days ahead of time.
Right.
Of course, travel wasn't like how it is now.
No.
You could actually take a flight and get there the day you were expecting.
Right. And but what was interesting, I remember like just thinking about the whole process, right? With the boys, and it was just we were so excited getting on the plane and getting there, and just remembering all the little stories from the summer that we had with them. They literally I think, didn't they like text us or something?
Well, yeah,
we were getting on the plane.
Yeah, we were getting on the plane, and we had gotten a message from them, and I was like teary eyes, because we're thinking we're going to do these different steps. We're going to have an appointment. We're going to do paperwork. We're going to have court. We thought we were bringing home 2 sons.
Right. And
We had a bedroom made for them, decorated, bunk beds. We thought we were adding 2 kids to our family.
yeah, and it was incredible. And I mean, I remember during the hosting, and we didn't mention this in the hosting episode, but our first episode, we had talked about these mugs that we had set up with all of our kids' names on them. And all of our kids' name, we had
What we thought would be.
what we thought we had picked out were so our kids' names were and are Victoria, Vincent, and Anthony. And we had mugs with those names on them, and we had one more mug that had Alexis on it. And when the boys were with us, their names were Alex and Sasha, which both of those names are literally Alexander. And when they were in our house, they saw the mugs.
Yeah.
And they saw the Alexis, and they thought it said Alex's.
And they said, that's us.
And they were saying, "Oh, that's us, that's us." And so they had already said that they were part of our family based on the mugs.
Yeah.
And so it was, yeah. So like remembering these things and the process brings back so many more memories from 10 years that are incredibly sweet and incredibly emotional, like to think about all of these things. And so here we are, we're getting on the plane to go. We land, we're there, we're excited.
Can I pause for a second and go back just a little bit?
Yeah.
Did someone at our church tell you something before we left to go get our 2 boys?
Yeah. So somebody had mentioned something to me, and so we're on the plane.
But I don't think you told me.
No.
You told me on the plane.
No, I told you on the plane. So we're on the plane, and we're flying. And good thing we were flying, because I think she probably would have done something worse than what she did.
Who's she? Me?
Yeah, you. So somebody had said something to me, but I got this weird feeling when we're on the plane. Then I said to Krystal, I said, "Babe, I honestly think that we're going to come home with a girl." And somebody had given me a word that there was a girl involved, but that wasn't the feeling I was getting. I think that they have a sister. The boys have a sister so somehow we're going to come home with the girl. And she's like, "Nope, they already have a sister. She's at home." Like you were like, "There's no way,
Well, you were basically saying, "I think we're going to come home with a girl." Right. And I'm just thinking, I just decorated a bedroom for 2 boys. I don't see how we're coming home with a girl.
Yeah, so there was just this weird feeling that
and someone had told you that you think that we were going to come home with a girl. So I just want to put that out there, because that happened as we're literally on a plane going to Ukraine
to pick up our boys.
Yeah.
And so so like crazy to think about, but that was what was happening. We land, we get there, we're enjoying some of the, Ukraine is stunning.
It is beautiful.
Like
the architecture, it's beautiful.
Really nice.
I wish there wasn't a war happening currently there, but it is.
This was 10 years ago, right
country.
Before the original takeover. But it was incredible. I mean, we
enjoyed all the food, all the sites. We were the best tourists that you could find.
The Amerikanskis, for sure.
We met some people who were, local natives, and they're like, "You've seen more of Kyiv than we have."
Right. We were everywhere in those few days, and then our appointment is Tuesday.
Yes.
And so we get to our appointment and go from there.
Yeah. So the way it works when you go to Ukraine, you have an appointment with the SDA is what it's called. And that appointment is to get a referral. And so if you're going in like us and you know the children that you want to adopt because maybe you did a hosting program, then it's pretty cut and dry. You're going in, you have their names listed. And so you then get a referral that you can go to their orphanage and pursue the whole adoption process. Now, if you're going in and they call it basically adopting blind, and you don't have a child, then you go into one of these appointments. And 10 years ago, I don't know if it's changed much, but they had pictures of kids. So this office was was filled with binders that had, basically a summary of a child and their age and where they were
Pictures.
located and a little tiny bio and their history. And it really is heartbreaking because the enormity of all the kids that were in orphanages and that needed families. There has been a push to move from orphanages to foster families in Ukraine, especially since then. But it's still that way now that you have all these children in orphanages. So you have, if you're going to Ukraine, basically 3 times to have one of these appointments. So you could have 3 referrals.
Right.
So for us, we didn't really think twice about it because we knew who we were going for.
Right.
But if you go in blind and you really kind of pick a child and you look at a picture and you say, okay, I would like to meet them, then you have 3 chances to do that. So in Ukraine, a beautiful thing that they do to give children a say and some voice in the matter is that a child has to basically accept and say yes to being adopted. So they can say yes, and that also gives them the opportunity to say no.
Right.
If they meet a family and it's not what they want to do, or they don't feel, for whatever reason, a child decides no, they don't want to be adopted by them, they can say no. So as a adoptive family, you have 3 of those opportunities.
Right.
One child says no, you could go back, make another appointment, find another child, and then, meet them and go with that. And so you have 3 times to do that. And then it's like, if that doesn't work out, basically that's kind of the end of the road.
Right.
You can go back home and then you could pursue doing it all over again.
And so, like, our brain wasn't there.
No.
Or we were in the point of like, hey, we got our boys. We're gonna go get them. So we had done a little touristy stuff. Our appointment comes on Tuesday. Mm-hmm. We do the appointment. That goes well. Mm-hmm. And we were told not to say much in this appointment. Mm-hmm. Our facilitator, we met with her. And like, what we did, and here we'll give some interesting insights into Ukraine. And at the time. This was crazy stuff. So, you go there and you're supposed to have a certain amount of cash on you. Do you remember this?
This was, talk about me having anxiety. This was wild. Because there's people that you work with, but there's kind of not a disconnect, but it's like, you leave America. You leave English-speaking America and you go to Ukraine, which speaks Ukrainian and speaks Russian. Now, there are people who speak English, but we knew no Ukraine. Right. So part of what you pay for is we had a facilitator. So we basically had someone who walked every step of this with us. Right. Which can make or break your adoption journey.
100%.
There's amazing facilitators.
Yes.
And like in anything, there are going to be some that are not amazing.
Shady.
Shady. I feel like it.
Yeah. And so we had met with our original guy.
And so we had all that money, all the money that we needed. We had money
pocket.
belts.
Yeah, we had them in like a before they were cool and hip.
Yes, they were not cool then.
They were not.
These were like hidden fanny packs.
Fanny packs.
Cash.
And we go to a restaurant.
Yeah. A cafe, like a
random cafe.
Meet our facilitator,
this guy. And we end up handing over
so we have to pay him, and he decides for us to pay him in this cafe. But he wants to make sure he's not being taken advantage of. He wants to make sure he has all his money. So he takes out the money and just starts counting all this money on a table in the cafe in front of everyone.
Yeah.
And we're just dying.
Yeah.
What is happening? Like, we're going to be robbed right now. Why are we counting this cash? Why aren't we in an office? Why aren't we somewhere?
So it was that was weird.
We did not have.
Unexpected. And so, anyway, that was one part with this guy. And then it's like, so we already started questioning right here.
Yeah.
Like, was like, this guy,
is not
okay.
keeping us
this
safe.
is not normal.
How are we doing this
blah,
right
blah.
now?
And so we're like, okay. And so then there was another thing that, the airport. Remember the driver from the airport was like his cousin or something.
Well, no.
Yeah.
So where the boys were.
Oh, yeah.
And where the capital was a 2-day car drive.
Right.
And we found out it was his cousin driving. And so, we're a little bit more like, let's get things done fast. We're like, there's a thing called airplanes, and there's planes that fly from Kyiv to Simferopol, which is near there. And we're like, why couldn't we just take a plane? And he was not having that.
No, he got mad at us.
He got mad at us because his
these planes are bad. You don't know.
Oh, telling us that
China,
everyone.
Yeah, nobody takes
the
these
planes crash left and right.
Right. Yeah, because we wouldn't hear it on the news anywhere else.
Everyone's traveling in these planes.
And so, like, immediately our guard went up with this guy, and he knew it, and so he ends up sending.
No, babe, we contacted our adoption agency and said we're not comfortable with
this guy
facilitator. Who else is there that we can work with? And
so they end up sending amazing person.
Amazing.
She saved us from a lot of turmoil. So her name's Yana. Shout out Yana. We'll put a picture of her.
She was amazing, and she was just an angel every step of the way. We just love her. Yana was amazing.
She was fantastic. So we finally got that settled, and got a plane ticket.
Yeah, we met Yana and we're like, we're taking a plane, Yana.
Yeah, and she's like, yeah, good idea.
Great.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's take a plane ride.
We took a plane ride to they were all the way in southern.
Way down, because it was the summertime at the moment. And so they were at camp. So a lot of the orphanages during the summertime, they'll move the kids to a camp, and that's where they were. They were by the Black Sea. So they were in Crimea, which was taken over by
annexed.
Been annexed by Russia. So that's why they spoke Russian, because that's the area they were from. So we took the plane, and then we still had, a 2-hour drive from Simferopol down to Yalta, to where they were at the time at camp.
Right.
And so they knew we were coming. Alupka is actually where the camp was.
And so we went, and we get there, and we got to see the boys.
Yeah. So it was a year-long journey.
Yeah, from start to finish.
There we were, the Amerikanskis.
Showed up
at their camp. And so we thought we were hanging out with them.
Yeah, we thought we were going to just hang out that day.
Yeah.
Just be with them, hang out, take them back to their orphanage, hang out some more.
Because we were going to bring them from camp to the orphanage.
Yeah, so that we could spend some time with them, get acquainted more and that kind of stuff. So we were expecting like a few days with them.
Yeah.
And just things changed pretty rapidly. But we had some fun. We had some good stuff. We were the car ride back, we were joking around. We were having some fun.
Yeah, we had gifts for them. Yeah. They love superheroes. We had shirts for them. We had photo albums of the whole summer. Right. We had all these things. But even in that car ride, the older boy was asking, he knew, they're aware of the fact that they have to say yes. Right. So he was saying, how long do I have to make this decision? And everyone's talking. Even the nurse is telling him, you have this nice American family and you can do your sports anywhere. And so really just everyone was encouraging, like, you have time, you have 10 days, but like this is a family that's here for you. And we had to go back to the orphanage where we thought we were going to just, spend time.
Right. And hang out. And that's definitely not what happened at this time.
There was a plan that we were not aware of.
100% we weren't aware of. And we got back to the orphanage, and it was crazy. I think we should read what happened from this point on.
Oh, I put my phone down.
So go grab it. And this is something that really, we put it up on our Facebook page that we had put Bringing Home Our Boys, and this was the post from that day. I think really is something we should read because it's our true feelings from that day, what we were going through, and since I probably will not make it through reading that, you can read the post that was written from that day.
Yeah. So it says, this was written from Vinny's perspective. So grab a seat, a coffee, and a box of tissues because this story is just getting started. We've read countless stories of adoptions on Facebook and blogs and books, and most of them seem so witty and entertaining, like it's a whimsical fairy tale that you must do.
You probably wrote that part. the whimsical.
You didn't put
I
whimsical in
definitely
there? Okay.
don't think that I would have used that term, but it sounds like I think that sounds from your perspective
Okay.
there. But you added a few little details here. So keep
Okay.
going.
Your official editor.
Yeah. True.
Or like it's a ride on an amusement park. Well, it really is like a roller coaster of ups and downs, twists and turns, scary, fun at times, and wishing you could get off at others. Well, this is the time we wish we could get off. At 5:30 p.m. on Wednesday, our plans changed. You see, therein lies the problem that it wasn't our plans to begin with. This was always God's plan. We set out on this journey last year hoping to adopt Sasha and Alex, but God has obviously put us on a different journey because yesterday, when we said we'd choose you, the boys chose something else. We do not know all the reasonings and have all the same questions you do. Believe me, we have asked each other all of them. Why, what, how? And here's what we did find out. They are still in contact with their mom and see her and their brother. We did not know she was still in the picture at all before we got here. So that put new perspective on things. We thought these boys needed a family, but they already have one, sort of. It's been heartbreaking to say the least. You know that point on a movie where the bomb just exploded and there's chaos ensuing, but there is a numbing fog and no sound? Yep, that sums up how we feel. Bomb exploded and we are in the scene, but we have this calm in the midst because we know God's plan is better and bigger than ours. We've talked about this numerous times. What would happen if they said no? But it was so hard to hear. It was also weird and incredibly strange as we thought we were going to see them to hang out, and it turned into this official meeting where they said no, and we were left heartbroken with our mouths open and tears flowing, saying, where do we go from here? Well, since we have talked about it, it was a little easier, but not much, and we will not give up. We know that there are 2 children here in Ukraine that need a family. We don't know who they are yet and are really asking God to mend and open our broken hearts quickly. However, we are sure they are here. God did not bring us to Ukraine to have the story end like that. And even if he did, well, it's his story anyways, and he can do what he wants. We just need to figure out why we are here then. We traveled back to Kyiv, which was like the movie, Planes, Trains, and Automobiles. We were literally on all 3. Now to start a whole different process. But we do not lose hope because this story is about rescue and this journey is about Christ. So as we continue on the roller coaster ride of a lifetime, we hope you're praying for his will to be done. To God be the glory in this, and we will forever praise him for all he is doing. His ways are greater and higher. We will keep you posted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still crying.
So we walked.
Still emotional after 10 years of that, you know? And it's like so devastating, you know, to walk through that process with them. Woo, boy.
We walked into the office and there was a director in the office. We walked into the director's office thinking we were meeting her. And there was a director.
Just meeting her.
There was the nurses, the teachers, the sports coaches,
everyone
there. And they immediately said, you know, to Sasha, do you want to be adopted? And he said no. And then they had him sign papers immediately.
So we're thinking, even at that point, we're like, okay, we got 10 days to figure this out. And they were like, nah, you don't have 10 days. This is it.
It was already a plan.
Yeah, they had a plan set up from the get-go that this ain't happening.
Yeah.
And you know, we didn't know that there was family involved. And we found that out. And that made it a little easier. In the sense of there was still family. We don't know much about that even to this day, other than there is brother, there is a sister, there is more family involved. Yeah, it was heartbreaking to say the least. You know, we had worked so hard to you know, make them a part of our family, to bring home our boys, and that was. That was not what was God's plan that day. And like the post said, like we had talked about it like really like briefly, and we're like, yeah,
we discussed it because we in all of our like I hate to say, well, not study, but all of our research and learning and trying to be aware of things, we knew it was a possibility they could say no.
Right.
And we already knew we had to make a decision. And we knew that God brought us to Ukraine to adopt and to bring our kids home. It was always about our kids. Our Facebook page was bringing our boys home. We changed it to say bringing our kids home.
Bringing home our kids.
Bringing home our kids. And in my post that I had put on there, I had just said, it's like, soon as it was done, I mean, for us, it's this huge moment.
Oh, yeah.
And like our facilitator was like, okay, what's
okay,
next?
we're good.
I mean,
that was the one moment we were like, can you just give us a second? You know, like
she was doing her job,
Right.
and she knew it wasn't the end of the story. It's what she did all the time. But we're ready to fall apart. We're like devastated. And she's like, okay, next. And I had to like book flights to get out of there the next day.
Right. And that was tough.
Yeah.
It was, I mean, like even thinking about like that, I remember just laying in bed that night, you know, like just bawling our eyes out.
So it was like, God, what are you doing?
Right.
We came thinking this one thing was going to happen, and it's clearly not. So
Right.
what is your plan?
And, you know, but we had said from the beginning, this is not our mission, it's his mission. And we were on a mission from God to do what he called us to do. And that was to bring his kids home. And so it was at that moment that we said, okay, we're not here for our boys, we're here for his kids. And we're gonna do whatever it takes to bring to rescue somebody.
And in saying that, we have kept in contact with the boys.
Right. So
every now and then, occasionally, we'll talk to them, especially when something happens in Ukraine, like the outbreak and the annex that happened 9 years ago, and then this recent war. And so we've, stayed in their lives, and sometimes we'll FaceTime with them and stayed in contact with them, and they're doing well. They both, got into good jobs. And so we kept track that way, but just not what we originally thought was going to happen.
Right. Again, there'll be some pictures for you to see of some FaceTimes and things that we have from them. And, but it was surreal.
Yeah.
And, we're still not over it, but we're over it, but we're still not. And, you think about like doing all of that to be, the switcheroo.
And that's what we had to just really be open to God's plan, because our hearts had to be in the right place. Cause it was like, and I remember even just saying it to the facilitator, going back to paperwork, we now had to do more paperwork.
And like
Ukraine.
This was the crazy part here, is that now we had to, because it wasn't known kids.
Well, we had
change
to
that.
Yeah. So I had to say to the facilitator, what do I do now? And we're on autopilot. Whatever you tell me to do, I'm just going to do. I can't even think twice. I'm booking plane tickets. I'm calling home. We're having to tell our kids who thought they were getting two brothers that wasn't happening. And we had to do, all this stuff. So in the middle of all this, our paperwork was for known kids. Now we needed other paperwork. And so our facilitator said, well, you had two boys listed on the paperwork. Why don't we open that up?
Right.
And remember, we had just two boys, but you said we were going to
bring home a girl.
So our facilitator said, well, change it from boys to girls. And she also said, change it from 2 to 3. Just make it easier, make it broader, just open that up.
Here.
And so, I'm not even thinking straight.
Not at all. You're writing this on paperwork.
We're changing this.
And we had to send it back to Florida. That had to get apostilled.
Yeah. So we're talking to our home study person in Florida, and then we're not in Florida to drive to Jacksonville. No. So shout out to Mom, who would literally took paperwork and drove to Jacksonville to get papers apostilled for us, because those had to get then overnighted to
DHL. Thank you for taking thousands of our dollars to get things overnighted.
From Florida to Ukraine.
Right.
Also that we could get our next appointment, and that we now had more of a range of kids that we could
Right, because now it was like we didn't know what was going to happen. And
had no clue. But what I did know, the thing that stressed me beyond belief, was you have those 3 appointments.
Right.
And so one of the appointments was gone now with the boys who said no. So we just had 2 appointments left.
Right.
So we now blindly have 2 chances to meet children who we believe and that would be a good fit and would be the kids that God's brought us to Ukraine for.
Right. I don't know where to go with like this, like, 'cause it's like so like it was such a moment, you know?
Yeah.
And like, and we had to move on so fast, you know? And we did, but you can still see it affects us in the sense of like, man, that was traumatic, right?
Yeah.
But we knew that there were some kids that have dealt with more trauma than this.
Yeah.
That we were gonna bring home.
I mean, for us,
give them a family.
For us, it was just our plans and our intentions that didn't go our way. But
right,
there are children out there who are living their lives in an orphanage without family, without.
So then we have to set another SDA appointment.
Yes.
And so our facilitator sets it up. We go into this.
And what was the one thing we said? There was one condition.
No, there was one condition. We're never going back to that area ever again.
Because where they were was Crimea, the farthest part from
point.
Kyiv. So the one thing we said, we're not going back there.
It was a 12-hour train ride.
Yeah.
Easily.
We have the whole 16-hour train ride.
16-hour train ride.
Overnight train ride. And we're like, we have the whole country. Yeah, we're not going back there.
Never going back there. Don't
Be careful
ever,
what you say.
Yeah. We should have learned from many times.
We should know that.
Right. But we didn't. And we were like, nah, we're never going back there. And so we had to go so we're back in Kyiv. Yep. We're there and
waiting
for another SDA appointment. At this time, we had to go through the books.
Yeah. So we had that experience of going in blindly because we didn't have kids that we didn't have names of children. So again, our facilitator is with us, and
she was great for this part of it.
She was great for everything.
Yeah, and so like she was helping us in the sense of she knew that we only had 2 appointments left,
and she reassured me, crazy mom, and she was like,
"I have never
had anyone go home without their children."
Right.
So we're like, okay, okay, I'm holding you to that.
We're not going to be the ones, and.
So we start flipping through books,
yes,
which is wild and heartbreaking and just horrible because, you're looking at these faces and you can't adopt everyone and you have to make decisions of, I don't think kids with needs. And I'm like, that's beyond me. I can't handle that. Or, they're not a good age or all these reasons, which are basically like flipping through saying no and looking for children that you do think would be a good fit without even meeting them. So it's overwhelming.
Yeah. And so we had gone through some pictures, picked a couple of different scenarios. And our facilitator was great in the fact that she started calling people she knew.
She saw the picture. There was no way she could contact everyone. But we saw a picture. Again, you thought we were going to come home with a girl. So now our
eyes are open.
Our eyes are open to that, which I hadn't thought about it. And so we saw a picture of a boy and girl.
Right.
And when she saw where they were located, she knew someone at that orphanage.
And so she kind
of like went and made a little phone call. And
this is the only reason why we did this.
Well, she made a phone call,
assured us
to this orphanage and was like, "Hey, I have a family. Obviously, this is her job. I have a family, an American family, and they're looking at this brother and sister at your orphanage. Are they open for are they willing? Are they open for adoption?"
Right.
And in real time, they went and talked to them, and it was a girl and a boy, and they said, "Yeah, we're willing to meet a family. We're willing to meet
14-year-old girl, 8-year-old boy."
Yeah.
Yep.
And remember how we said we weren't going to go all the way back to Crimea?
Right, but this is the reason why we went, because she had talked.
Well,
and so we're like, we're not going back there. We're going back and forth, that's far. And sure enough,
they were in Crimea, but she talked to someone. Different. They were in Simferopol, in the capital of Crimea. And so because she had confirmation that yes, these two children are willing, to meet a family and they're interested in being adopted, we said, okay,
Fine.
we'll go back. Even though I do not want to do that train ride, I want to go somewhere else in the whole entire country.
At this point now, we had done the plane money.
Oh, that first time.
The first time was like, oh yeah, we got money for a plane. We're good. Now we're on.
train.
This is trip. We're
Train
on
money.
plane now. Like we're on train now.
Train money, not car. We never resorted to
We
driving
definitely didn't do the drive.
a whole day in a car.
Well, we did do the train.
The train.
And this was an interesting train ride, for sure. The going there. And we changed everything coming back from that point forward.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you'll ever find yourself in Ukraine when it's the end of summer and everyone's coming back and forth from holiday, but book your own
room.
like train cabin compartment. Book your own one, because you might find yourself with someone who has a dog hidden in their bag and is feeding their dog in the middle of the night, sleeping above you, and uncomfortable, inappropriate situation might occur.
Inappropriately dressed, yes.
That as well.
Yeah. It's
stories. The stories are never ending.
We can tell there. We're not going to, though.
Yeah.
We get back to there. We meet the kids.
So we meet this boy and this girl. We go to their orphanage, and we saying this in like a one snippet. Everything was days and weeks. I mean, for the appointment was weeks. We thought we were going to be there for 6 weeks.
This was probably week 4 at this point.
It may have been by the time we got paperwork and things sent over and all the appointments and train rides. So we go to this orphanage, and there are some good orphanages.
Right.
It's good and bad and everything. So there are some places where you have loving, caring directors who take care of the kids, and they work their whole lives to provide a place that, cares for kids.
Right.
There are some orphanages that are not like that. And, even they're sadly. And it's like when you get bigger and bigger, this orphanage had hundreds of kids.
Right. It was, our eyes were open.
Yeah. There wasn't as much care. There wasn't as much concern.
There were animals. It was just, wow.
Yeah. So, even for every child, their experience can be completely different.
Right.
So we met this boy and this girl.
Right.
And the boy seemed, very, excited and interested.
Yeah.
It was like,
played soccer. We had some fun times.
The possibility of a mom and a dad.
Yeah. He was definitely open.
Yeah.
And the girl seemed open at first.
She's if you put yourself in their shoes, you're meeting a complete stranger. They don't know us. They don't know if we're nice. They don't know if we're, crazy. They don't know anything. So obviously your walls and guards are going to be up. So that's understandable. Like, we're not expecting like open arms from a stranger.
Right.
But she was very guarded.
Yeah.
And very serious. And so we met them. Again, we're thinking it was a good time, good meeting for what it was. Our facilitator was, translating things and talking and conversation. And we think, okay, we'll come back the next day.
Right.
So we'll meet them again. It'll be great.
Yeah, it's going to be super. We're going to hang out again. Yeah. Maybe we'll.
And we're only there because they had said that they were open to adoption.
They wanted to be. Yeah. And so the next day comes. And we go to the.
We weren't even in the taxi yet. We got a phone call still in the hotel room.
Yeah, we were in the hotel room, and our facility is like, this doesn't look good. Stay where you're at,
baby. You're making it sound a whole lot nicer. She said, "This girl is not meeting you," and she has already said no. Yeah. She doesn't want to see you again.
She tried to get her to see us.
Yeah,
and that just didn't go well. So we. Yeah, I'm trying to be nice about it.
She made that decision. And they have that voice to be able to make those decisions.
Right.
But at 14, she's deciding for her and her brother to, say no to a family. And she said no. And she refused.
So here we are
again.
Getting another no. And
the second no.
Number 2. And we only had
3 appointments.
1 to go.
1 left.
And that's where we'll end it today.
We're going to end it right there?
We're going to end it right there.
So second no, and we find ourselves in Crimea where we said we weren't going to go again.
Right.
And open to girls.
We're open to
adopting girls.
2 to 3, whatever at this point. We're open to whatever God wants at this point. We're open because
being obedient to what the Lord wants.
Here we are. We got to go back to.
We thought we were going to go back to Kyiv.
That's where we'll leave.
That's where we'll leave off.
All right, pray for everybody, and then we'll see you guys on the next episode. It's gonna be great.
Heavenly Father, we thank you today. God, I just pray for children everywhere, God, who find themselves in these situations. God, I pray that you will move on the hearts of Christians and Christian families to open their hearts and their lives to kids who are in need. And God, I pray that our children here in America and all over the world will meet your love. And God, I pray that you will rise up the body of Christ to be the hands and feet, to do what is needed, the practical and the behind the scenes things that are needed for families to welcome kids into their lives. So I pray that you'll be with everyone listening today. Give them guidance and wisdom, we ask in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. And hey, we know this was supposed to be a celebration of National Adoption Awareness. Well, we're making it known and you aware of some of the not so good sides of the adoption process. And this is our story, our journey, and we thank you for tagging along as we are going to celebrate. The celebration starts in the next episode, and we're still celebrating because God works all things together for good for those who are called according to his purposes. And we know that to be true. And wait till you hear what happens on the next episode, and you will be encouraged. So, hey, may the Lord bless you. May he keep you. May his face shine upon you and give you peace. And may you be blessed today and be encouraged. And we'll see you in the next episode.